Hello and welcome to What the Force. And this is another segment of Kids Review Star Wars. Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3. And with me today is Will.
Hello, when you listen to the podcast, you might when you're older, you might get hit by a boulder.
Okay,
yes, it is very true.
And with us also is
Hi, I am Robin, the 10-year-old.
the 10-year-old, and Will is 6 years old.
And I am
Correct? Or is he 7?
No, he's 6. All right, so we watched 2 days ago.
Revenge of the Sith.
And at the start of the movie covers the last days of the Republic. And over top of Coruscant, the start of the movie, we see Anakin and Obi-Wan attempting to rescue a kidnapped Chancellor Palpatine.
Also known as Dark Sidious.
Darth Sidious, which is pretty obvious by this point, right?
We're going to call him DC.
DC?
Don't get confused with the actual DC.
Well, Sidious is actually with an S.
Oh, well, then DS.
Yes, yes.
Well, it should be spelled with a C because so.
But it's
City.
Sidious, like a snake.
A city?
No, I don't know.
City
Like-
is.
Like,
Sidious.
Sidious.
City is.
so there's a crisis. Chancellor Palpatine's been captured. Do you think that he was really captured? Like, do you think that he wasn't taken by surprise?
He surrendered.
This was part of his plot. I think that's pretty obvious
Yeah.
by the end of the movie. So there's a giant space battle involving lots of Republic cruisers and lots of separatist ships. Did you like the intro space battle, Will?
Yes.
What was your favorite part of the intro space battle? There was like the buzz droids and everything was crazy. There was stuff quite literally everywhere. I love the line that Anakin says, "Lock on to them, R2." And R2's like, "Lock on to what?" Because there's like stuff everywhere.
And the part where I love is when R3's head goes flying.
Oh yeah, R3 gets kicked, like his head comes off because of the buzz droids. All right, Robin, what did you like about the space battle?
There wasn't really much I liked except for R3's head being thrown off.
There was a lot going on. It was kind of hard to track, I think, hey? And then they end up on the separatist spaceship in an attempt to rescue Chancellor Palpatine. R2-D2 is in the hangar bay and has his own little fight with the battle droids on the spaceship. What did you think of that fight?
Awesome.
Okay. And then they run around the ship a bunch, get caught in an elevator twice, get captured, as well as rescue Chancellor Palpatine. At one point, after they run in to save Palpatine, they end up in a fight with Count Dooku. And Anakin, with Obi-Wan disabled, Anakin is given a choice to kill Count Dooku, and Chancellor Palpatine says, "Do it." Right?
That is where everyone is like, oh my God, this guy is evil.
Oh yeah, and I heard you, Robin, screaming at Anakin, "Don't do it!" Right? Like
Don't listen to Dark Sidious. Whichever way it's spelled.
Darth.
Whatever.
There's a TH. Yeah,
Whatever.
exactly.
Dark Sidious.
Dark Sidious. What did you think of that scene, buddy? Because Anakin to this point has shown himself to be quite the hero and concerned for clones.
Wait, my brain was saying, "Don't do it,"
Yeah.
but my head was saying, "Do it."
Oh, okay. So you kind of like that scene?
But my brain didn't want him to do it.
Right. And so he ends up cutting off not only Dooku's hands, but his head. You describe it.
And he has his lightsaber.
Yeah, he has Dooku's lightsaber. And what does he do? Can you describe that?
He does this.
Yeah, he crosses them over and cuts off Dooku's head, killing him, and then rescues Palpatine. And at this point, Palpatine tries to encourage Anakin to leave Obi-Wan behind, but he refuses and says his fate will be the same as ours. What did you guys like about this whole rescuing Chancellor Palpatine, rescuing Chancellor Palpatine?
Senator Palpatine.
He's the Chancellor now.
I think it was okay. Be fair, I don't like the Chancellor that much. I don't know who does.
He is evil. What did you think of the intro adventure? Because it was sort of like an adventure on itself, right? Like it was Anakin and Obi-Wan and R2-D2 attempting to save the Chancellor. And in the end, they fight General Grievous and land the Separatist spaceship on Coruscant.
I mean, really, the entire movie was a little bit boring for me. And really until the end fight scene, nothing was really going on. It was just like, oh, and what our mom said about the midi-chlorians in the first episode.
I totally was wrong. No, I was wrong. It wasn't a lie. I honestly thought they didn't say anything. So
bam, midi-chlorians for you.
But we'll get to that part in a second. Okay, so they rescue Emperor Palpatine. Chancellor. They rescue Chancellor Palpatine, and they come back, and accolades of the Senate, accolades of the Jedi Council. They are treated like war heroes, Obi-Wan and Anakin. And Anakin spots Padme as he's on his way into the Senate building. Padme has some news for him. Do you remember what the news she had for him?
They're having a child, or as they would soon find out, multiple children.
Multiple children, yeah.
If you haven't watched the movie, well, shame on you.
Well, I hope they're not listening to this if they haven't watched the movie. Spoilers. Will, what did you think of Padme's news?
Good.
You liked that Padme was pregnant? Anakin seemed really shocked at first, hey?
Shocked, but yet happy.
Yeah, no, and he was pretty happy. But soon we find out that he is starting to have nightmares about Padme dying in childbirth. And are these nightmares, or do they kind of present themselves as visions?
Visions.
Chancellor Palpatine asks Anakin to become his representative on the Jedi Council. And this is where it gets a little, I would say, boring for my kids in particular. They didn't really seem interested in kind of the political machinations. They're actually rolling their eyes a little bit right now.
Seriously, why do we have to talk about dumb politics? What is the point?
But why it's important is because this was Palpatine's way of corrupting the Jedi. This was Palpatine's way of corrupting the Senate and the Republic. And this was Palpatine's way of corrupting Anakin by giving him just enough power that he knew the council would deny him what he felt was due to him. At that point, they track down General Grievous on Utapau, which is that cool planet with the lizard guy that Obi-Wan runs around. And Obi-Wan is sent to arrest or kill General Grievous. And Palpatine invites Anakin for an interesting conversation. And this is the one that we were just referring to. And he's at this like crazy water ballet with these like floating bubbles of water and like fish or performers jumping in and out of them. It's really cool. And Anakin comes and has a conversation
about
Darth Plagueis the Wise. They have a conversation about Darth Plagueis the Wise. What did you think of that conversation, kids?
It was a little boring up until the midi-chlorians because, I mean, like, prove you wrong, huh?
I honestly thought they cut midi-chlorians from canon. I know, seriously, I thought they did, but there they are. But what's really interesting about that conversation, and I think that you guys will realize it once I say
it's really corrupting.
It is corrupting, yeah. So Anakin is worried about Padme getting sick and dying in childbirth. Right? And Palpatine says to him, his good friend Shiv Palpatine, his really good friend who's been his friend for 10 plus years, says to him, there are ways to even save people from dying. And Anakin says, how does one learn such abilities? And Palpatine says, well, you can't learn that from the Jedi. And so Anakin has a need to learn something from... Do you think that Palpatine is a good friend to Anakin?
Yes, up until the corruption. He's been nice, although we know that he doesn't have good intentions, but he has been a good friend. He's never actually done anything wrong to purposefully hurt Anakin.
He has no reason to not trust him, right? But his intentions behind the scenes are bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's a really confusing place to be in.
So Anakin has a fear of losing Padme and ends up being on the council and feeling really conflicted by the council's request that he spy on Palpatine. It's like if everything was all good in the world, the council wouldn't request him to spy on his friend, right?
But not everything is good. So
Yeah.
they have to. Because most of... And later on, we find out that Anakin finds out that his great friend, Palpatine, is actually evil.
Exactly. Yeah. Before we find out that Obi-Wan has managed to kill General Grievous, he is revealed to be a Sith Lord to Anakin. What does Anakin do? Do you remember?
Oh, gosh.
Does he go back to the Jedi Council and tell them?
Yes! He tells, what is his name?
Mace Windu.
Mace Windu. I thought about Windu and I'm like...
And
meh.
Mace Windu and some of the coolest Jedi around, including the guy with all the tendrils off of his head. His name is Kit Fisto, and I loved him when I first saw this movie and Attack of the Clones. I thought he was so cool. And in the Clone Wars, he's like really good with a lightsaber. They expand on his background a little bit. They go to the Senate to force Chancellor Palpatine to step down, right? Or be arrested. What gives them that authority to make those sorts of decisions?
They are the peace bringers and the balance people.
They see themselves as that, but in a society that has been corrupted by Chancellor Palpatine, by Darth Sidious, this could be perceived as an evil or illegal act.
Yeah, but
right?
Really, they want to do good. It's just sometimes their intentions are good. It's basically the opposite of Senator Palpatine and his friendship with the Anakin.
But sometimes people with good intentions can have their intentions twisted by how it's perceived through the outside world, right? So although the Jedi were good and they tried to do good, they seemed power hungry by everybody who wasn't a Jedi. And Palpatine used that to overthrow the Republic. When Mace Windu came and...
Well, bye, Miss Windu. Out the window. Out the window.
No, this is a really key scene because this is where Darth Vader actually rises, right? So Mace Windu has fought Chancellor Palpatine. Mace Windu has fought Chancellor Palpatine and he's revealed to be Darth Sidious with his red lightsaber, right?
Yeah.
What did you think of his fighting ability?
Evil.
Yeah, no, he kind of like was vicious. Hey, he made all these faces, and he used the lightning, and he jumped over the desk, and
Red eyes. I am powerful.
No, I know, and he has the Sith eyes by the end.
When Anakin was burning, I saw, but he had the...
Red eyes too.
No, he had the eyes inside X-Men.
Oh, okay, like yellow eyes. Hey. Yeah.
Inside X-Men, the girl that can turn anything or anyone.
Her name is Mystique.
Mystique.
So, yeah, those eyes reminded you of Mystique. Palpatine is defeated in a way. Anakin comes to the scene, and Mace wants to kill Palpatine.
Oh my goodness.
Right? No, he does. And Anakin is like, no, don't do it. He must stand trial. It has to be, fair and legal. And you guys have to prove you're better than this evil lord. And really his fate is in the balance at this exact moment. And Mace refuses to listen to Anakin.
You should have. That way that you could... Anakin's future could be on the Jedi. It would be tilted towards the Jedi if you just listened.
Yeah, I know. It's
Purple
really...
lightsaber or not, you may be one of my favorite Jedis, but just listen.
No, and he doesn't. And Anakin is...
He shouldn't have.
He shouldn't have listened?
Because he actually kills him instead.
Yes, Anakin kills... Well... He cuts off his arm, Mace, and Palpatine shoots him out the window with his Force lightning. effectively.
Bye, Mace Windu.
Bye,
Out the window you go.
And at this point, Robin, what did you say to me? You said, "Is he dead?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, he's no longer in the room. We don't know if he dies at that moment. He's a Jedi. He might have survived."
Probably forced his way down.
Yeah, he landed.
Or he might have landed on a ship.
Yeah, he could have landed on it. We don't know what happened to Mace Windu.
Yeah.
The actor Samuel L. Jackson, who plays him, says, "You know what? I think Mace Windu's still alive." So let's think about that. So this was the final turning point of Darth Vader, in that Anakin needed a master. Well, he thinks he needs a master. From his very young age, he has been a slave, and he has been the servant of an institution his whole life. He went from being a slave under the service of Watto to a Padawan under the service of the Jedi.
Well, really, it was from a little bit of Jin guy. The guy who found him and did the midichlorian test and told him all about it.
Qui-Gon Jinn, yeah.
I knew it had something to do with Jin. These names are so confusing.
He was only free for about half a heartbeat when Qui-Gon Jinn freed him. He didn't have any master, but he was also lost. He didn't know what to do with himself. And so Darth Sidious takes Darth Vader and makes him his apprentice and sends him on a mission to become powerful with the dark side so that he can save his wife's life. So why did Anakin turn to the dark side?
He loves Padme. And love is like a strong thing.
And he wanted power, right? To be able to protect her. But he also became greedy and could not let her go, right? There's a chance that any one of us could die at any moment.
Like now, because a guy could throw a knife through the window.
Exactly, yeah. No, anybody could die at any moment. And Anakin didn't want to accept that. He wasn't willing to lose her. And that's where, in a lot of ways, the dramatic irony of this movie comes full circle.
Yeah, and then we get to the dumbest planet in the world.
Soon.
Why would anyone go there?
Soon. But there's still some stuff that happens first. First, Palpatine, Darth Sidious, sends Lord Vader to the Jedi Temple. And what does he do there?
Let's murder everybody.
Exactly.
Murder party.
What did you think of that?
My face,
This hero we're supposed to idolize. Anakin is considered to be one of the top heroes of the Republic, and he goes to the Jedi Temple, which has been his home for years. What do you think?
He just upright walks in with 50 clones and starts murdering people.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he was told to.
What does that? Oh my! Hasn't anybody heard of free will?
No, I know, but he was told, if you become powerful with the dark side, you will be able to save your wife. So he said to himself that Padme's life is worth more than all of the Jedis and all of the universe. That's what he said. He said in his mind, right? Because he is saying to save Padme's life, I must murder all of these Jedi. Because Darth Sidious said, become powerful with the dark side and you'll be able to save your wife's life. Yoda and Obi-Wan return back to Coruscant after Order 66, where all the clones turn on their Jedi generals. And we see several Jedi Masters die, including Plo Koon, who's one of my favorites.
Oh no! R.I.P. Plo Koon. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Plo Koon. And Obi-Wan turns the message that was on the Jedi Council recalling everybody home around, warning everybody away. Yoda says, I'm going to go and face Palpatine. And Obi-Wan says, I can't face Anakin. He's my brother. I can do anything else. Don't make me face Anakin. And Yoda says, you're not powerful enough to face Palpatine.
Oh, God. Can we please just skip this part? It's so sad.
Anakin, just before he leaves to go to Mustafar to kill the rest of the Separatists, which we find out some stuff when he arrives, goes and visits Padme and tells her his perspective on what has happened, which is that the Jedi have betrayed the Republic. And she is confused. And I think that she wants him to not have been as bad as he was, but she believes him. And she believes that there's still good in him and that he's a good person. At this point, we know R2 is really worried about Anakin. He says to C-3PO something like in beeps, and C-3PO says, well, he is under a lot of stress.
Oh, God, C-3PO. Oh, God.
I know. And R2 really does warn C-3PO and Padme at that point.
No, you have to beep, 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 beep.
Exactly.
Beep. AKA translating to get out of here, run, get out of here,
Yeah,
run.
no, he's really worried about Anakin. And I think that like Anakin has been his friend for many years. So Anakin goes to Mustafar, and one of the biggest changes that we see between the relationship of Anakin and R2 is that Anakin walks into the building and tells R2 to stay with the ship, which, you know, through the course of the Clone Wars, through the course of, you know, many other situations, he would explain the reasons why, or he would ask R2 to come with him, and he doesn't. And it's because Anakin is about to do something not very nice. And he arrives and speaks with the Separatists, but doesn't even speak. He kills them all. He slaughters all of the Separatists. One of the Trade Federation people says, but Darth Sidious said the war would be over. We would have peace. So we find out in that moment that Palpatine was actually playing both sides against the middle. What do you think of that, Robin?
He's a liar, he's a traitor, but a mediocre friend.
Well, he's a lying friend, right? Like he was using Anakin. This leads to the two epic battles after Obi-Wan shows up on Mustafar, because Padme basically brings him there. Anakin chokes Padme because he thinks that she has betrayed him.
Like, how does he think that she betrayed him?
So she shows up and she tries to convince him to run away with her, to go and raise their babies away from all of this conflict.
Baby. They don't know yet.
Their baby from all of this conflict. And she's like, I love you. I just want to be with you. That's all. And Obi-Wan walks down the ramp of her ship.
They're actually twins.
Obi-Wan walks down the ramp of the ship, and Anakin is furious. He thinks that she has betrayed him by bringing Obi-Wan there to kill him. And he chokes her. Force chokes her. So from a distance. Yeah. With his like fingers out. Yeah. And she chokes. Exactly like that.
Except I'm sick, people. I'm not dying. My mom can't force choke people. So don't think that.
She falls to the ground. Anakin and Obi-Wan both sense that she's still alive, but she's hurt. And they start to
Battle
fight.
it out. It's time
At
to
the same
fight.
time, Yoda
Time to
shows up
fight.
and confronts Chancellor Palpatine. They both end up having epic battles to the most crazy music. What I love about this fight scene is that the music is so dramatic, and Anakin and Obi-Wan almost fight exactly the same way. Like they're like they push each other with the Force at the exact same moment, and they use the same moves, and when one's kicking the other is kicking the other, because they train together for so long. They fight like brothers. It comes down to Yoda ends up running away, realizing he can't defeat Palpatine. He runs he runs away to Bail Organa's ship to be picked up.
Oh man, this is the first time in centuries that Yoda's actually run away from a problem. Are we serious, Yoda?
Well, he feels defeated. He says he must go into exile. Obi-Wan ends up having the high ground with Anakin, and Anakin ends up having his other good arm and his two legs cut off, which was crazy. And he's yelling at him, I hate you. And Obi-Wan says, you were my brother. You were the chosen one. What did you think of the way that Anakin kind of ended up getting really hurt?
It was really over dramatic because, I mean, he still had parts of his leg. They were like the
stubs.
flesh was hanging from them. It looked so overly. It was like overly make-upped, really make-upped.
Really? You didn't think that was very believable?
It was a little bit.
And then he got lit on fire, and that can actually happen. Like your clothes can light on fire because it's so hot near magma. That was really scary to me. Anakin ends up being found by Palpatine and taken back to Coruscant and put into the Vader suit. What did you think of that scene?
Oh, great!
Yeah? What did you like about it?
It was like this. Dear, dear, dear.
Yeah, adding all of the pieces onto him. Mm-hmm. But what did you like about it? Was it realistic, you think?
Yeah, he was screaming also.
Yeah. And then Padme has her kid. She has Luke and Leia. What did you think of that?
Luke and Leia.
What did you think of her having the two babies?
I love Luke.
And little Luke.
Little Luke.
She ends up dying. And the droids can't really explain why she's dying. At the same moment, Vader gets sealed into the suit and becomes the Darth Vader that we know, and finds out through his hate that he didn't realize Padme had died.
Bum, bum, bum.
Palpatine said that she died. So what did you think of that, buddy?
In Anakin's anger, Palpatine said and lied to him. In Anakin's anger, he murdered her.
Right. And that caused him to be really, really mad at himself, which is the source of the Sith power, right? And the source of the dark side is anger and hatred.
But he actually didn't kill her.
No, but she did die, right?
Yeah, by baby.
By baby. She died by baby. The twins are split up on Yoda's recommendation. Luke is sent to his family, and Leia is adopted by Bail Organa.
I have something to tell you about the first movie.
Okay.
Well, the first movie had Yoda getting lumped up in the puppet, but now it's just the visual Yoda.
Yeah, it was the CGI Yoda. Did you like the CGI Yoda in this one?
I want the puppet Yoda back.
You like the puppet Yoda better? Well, we see him in the whole original trilogy, and he's a puppet later on as well.
Yay.
Yay. Yoda recommends splitting up, and that Obi-Wan is going to train how to commune with Qui-Gon Jinn. And Robin, you reacted really strongly to this. How did that make you feel that they could talk to Qui-Gon Jinn again?
Super awesome.
It was super awesome. So what did you think, Will, quickly, what did you think of Revenge of the Sith as the end of the prequel trilogy? Because this is the end of this one particular trilogy.
Super awesome.
So you did not pay attention for a good chunk of the movie because I think it was a little boring for you, but you liked the action fight scenes, right? Can you go back and actually say that?
Yes.
Robin, what did you think of the movie and the whole prequel trilogy?
It was good. I think there was a lot more politics and less fighting than there is in many of the other movies.
Yeah, there was a lot more laying the groundwork for the reasons why these things happened later on. Politics! And let's say, what is the biggest thing that you have learned from this trilogy?
Midi-chlorians are what make the Force tick.
That was the biggest thing. What about that a desire to save one person can lead to the downfall of a galaxy?
That is also a big thing, although midi-chlorians rule.
Really?
Yes.
That's the one thing. I failed as a parent. All right, so that wraps up our review of Revenge of the Sith, which the fight scenes were good, the politics were bad, or so say my kids.
And my midi-chlorians.
And midi-chlorians rule. And everybody has died. The end of the Republic, or what they call the Twilight of the Republic.
Everybody dies.
Everybody dies.
Everybody dies at the end of the movies. So,
except for Yoda and Obi-Wan and Bail Organa, who all take their kids and leave. At the very end of the movie, we see Darth Vader standing next to Emperor Palpatine, who has now turned the Republic into the First Galactic Empire, building something round. What do you think that is?
The Death Star.
The Death Star. So we get to see the start of the construction of the Death Star. And this was What the Force Is, Kids Review Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith. Signing off, we have...
Robin, the 10-year-old.
And...
You're the 6-year-old.
And goodbye.
Marie-Claire Gould.
Okay. Thank you everyone for listening to What the Force. I'm Marie-Claire Gould, your host. Our music is orchestral music composed by Christy Carew. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/whattheforce. We would like to thank all our patrons, especially those who love What the Force, In Wild Space, Night Huntress, and Susan. We are available wherever podcasts are found and YouTube. You can connect with us at Twitter at WT4 Show or on Facebook at What the Force. Feel free to reach out to us and start a conversation. Cheers.